getting a lot of questions about strategic planning and how to put a strategic plan in place for a corporation, for a medium-sized business, for a small-sized business, basically any business and organization or project that you need to roll out in an organization. A strategic plan. What types of areas do you need to look at? What do you focus on? What questions do you need to ask? How do you put that into place? Well, have a look at the full Kanban down here in the link in the show notes, and you see it in the link here down below as well, store.theotherservice.com/strategic plan critical capabilities. That's where you can go and actually have a look at the full contents of what I'm showing you here, and you can search through it. You can find information in it, the information that you want, that you need, and reuse that. There's also a purchase link there if you want to use it for commercial applications. Now, what am I looking at here? The full Kanban. It's zoomed in a bit, so you get a bit of an idea of what's going on here. There's all kinds of colors of balls in the knowledge graph that we have here, and the knowledge graph is built around several use cases, and there's over 2,000 use cases in this knowledge graph. Those are the big blue balls. So the big blue balls are basically the things that you want to have in place, the processes, the activities to ensure that you're doing strategic planning the right way. So I'm just highlighting one of them of the 2,000 here. Interface so that your strategy is including personnel decisions, strategic planning, and developing new sources of external and internal funding. Obviously, there's a lot going on with strategic planning, and that's why we've broken it down for you in this Kanban to make it a whole lot easier with an easy approach, step by step, of how to roll it out. Start with the low-hanging fruit and build it out from there. I'll show you that later, so hang in there. So here we've got the use case. This is the thing that you need to do. The use case has a question attached to it, so that's the ping ball. The ping ball is a question that you can ask teams in your staff in meetings. How is your organization unique to get to the heart of the strategic planning issue? We also see yellow balls here. Yellow balls are main keywords. That's especially for strategic planning. I find that to be a really good way of diving into a specific topic around strategic planning. The yellow balls, the main keywords, and you see more here: knowledge, partner, system. Those are, and there's a couple of, I think there's a couple of hundred of them, 100, 200, and we'll show them later as well. Those are the ones that'll make you dive into one specific topic and everything that goes with it around it. You'll see here, you'll see strategic planning, this ball. Those are the topic areas that are related to strategic planning. If I click this one, we'll see what this one is. It's another one. I hope it opens up. There's another area here. Here, product management, development, data governance, all these areas here you'll see happening, you'll see popping up here. So let me zoom out the whole enchilada so you can see the whole hairball of strategic planning and everything that you need to have in place there. So again, the big blue balls, those are the use cases, the things. The pink balls around here, they are the questions that we can ask related to the use case to make sure we're doing the right thing. And then we have the orange balls around here as well. Those are the roles that are involved in strategic planning, and those are the people that you ask these questions. So the pink balls ask the questions to these people. You see some red balls appearing here and there as well. The red balls are the most important questions to ask, the questions that you don't want to forget about, that you really want to ask in management teams and team meetings to ensure that you got strategic planning right. And there's some small green balls here as well, like there and there. And the green balls, they're actually the priorities. So each use case is organized in a priority, and we've got the prioritization in place based in 5 different categories, from must-have to should-have to would-have. And in each of these categories, they are prioritized based on their relevance, based on their adjacency, based on density. It's all based on in-house artificial intelligence that we've built to ensure that the most important critical capabilities come floating to the top and help you right away with doing what needs to be doing. Now, let's show you some more. So the use cases, I've told you about the use cases. Let's just pick the top 10 use cases that need to be in place. So the top 10 activities that need to be in place. These are the ones that we need to have in place to make sure the strategic planning is done right in our organization, is successful in our organization. And I'm not going to read them all, but you can have a look if I pan over them. And this is a live session, so you can't pause. But in the replay, you can easily pause and have a look at them. I'll just pick one of them. Let's for not a big one. Let's start with a smaller one, so it's not a lot of reading involved. Make sure your strategy has planning and project management skills to assess and develop strategic plans based on business needs and assessments. Okay, great, fantastic. How do I do that? Let me have a look. And this is where your Kanban, down in the link below, is really helpful because it'll tell you right away. There you go. Pulling it out here. What's a question that I can ask here? How do you accurately assess the skills, feelings, concerns, and needs of others during strategic planning? So we need to do a training needs analysis to make sure that we're doing the right strategic planning here. This one is related to strategic planning. It has a priority of 2001. And as you can see, it has a keyword relationship to management. And so that's management training and education. Have that in place for strategic planning. This is what helps you with that one. Now, if I click on each and every ball, let's do that just for the fun of it, so we can see how they open up and how they're all related. Click on that one. That's related to forecasting, corporate strategy. I see popping up. I see popping up infrastructure and operations, strategic planning, obviously, because we have training needs analysis here. That's the main word. Compassionate leadership. Wow, that's a good category. Strategic risk and IT strategy. So now these are the top 10 highest priorities, things to do, to put in place to have successful strategic planning in place for your organization. So you need to focus on forecasting, corporate strategy, strategic planning, infrastructure and operations, strategic risk, IT strategy, and down here, compassionate leadership and training needs analysis. These are the top highest priorities. What we also see here is the main keywords they evolve around. So we have management, we have corporate, we have strategic, we have strategy, we have development. Makes perfect sense to me, and I can dive into one of those words just by double clicking on it. Let's just see what happens, and I'll unclick it as well, because there'll probably be a lot. See, I double clicked here, and I double clicked corporate. I double click corporate. There we go. Double click corporate. So these are all the criteria that are related to corporate. So if I want to dive into corporate specifically, I can focus on these critical capabilities in here. Let me zoom in so you can read it if you want to. These corporate critical capabilities I can zoom into. All right, let's unclick that so we can actually see what's going on our screen. Now, what are the questions that I want to be asking for those top 10 priorities in strategic planning? Well, let's start up here. What are the key success factors that will make or break the business unit's success long term? Good question to ask, and I'm looking for this answer when I ask this question of my teams, or I'm looking to have this in place. Make sure the corporate strategy team's responsibilities, which need to be in place, include management of the strategic planning process, as well as your organization needs in-depth analysis of market trends, competition, and internal business metrics. So these things need to be in place. They're tangible things to have in place: market trends, competition, internal business metrics. And the question to ask for that is, what are the key success factors that will make or break the business unit's long-term success? Corporate strategy to align to. Let's pick another question here. What are the new technologies that will drive equipment that will drive development of new equipment or processes in your industry and markets? And that relates to drive coordination of business relationship management, strategic planning process and development, and ensure alignment with broader IT strategic objectives. All right, pretty cool, because it's related to infrastructure and operations. Another thing that I wanted to show you, if I double click on the question, up pops one of the orange balls. I could ask this to the VP of Marketing and Brand Strategy. This question, I would ask this to Creator Monetization Strategy Manager, the Solution Strategist, the Digital Strategy Consultants. These roles, they're actual job roles in organizations, in corporations that deal with strategic planning. Here, are risk analysis adequately documented? And let's ask that of the strategic development manager and the health engagement strategist. While I'm talking to the strategic development manager, see if there's other questions I can ask him or her. And there we go. Will the process be highly structured or loosely organized? Will new information or what new information or resources do you need? Are new projects likely to deliver solutions that meet business needs, etc.? And I can double click again and see what comes up here. There, these are all the activities that are related to this question. See, there's many ways of just diving deep into how to get your strategic planning in place. What I've started out with here at the top is I just want to see the top 10 highest prioritized activities that need to be in place. And with that, I just dive down deep in what I need to do and get the whole plan in place. And that's what the Kanban is really helpful for in organizations to get that into place. All right, now we've done those. We had a look at the top 10. Now let's have a look at something else that I wanted to show you, and that is this one. So I've told you about the big red balls. You've seen a red ball here and there appearing in the total overview. Those are the top 48 most important questions to ask in strategic planning every day. Every day on LinkedIn, I send out an email to all my subscribers. I think there's over 4,000 now, and they get a list of these are the 48 questions to ask of the important topic of the day, and answers to these questions as well down below, and that's really helping them. It's called audit this, audit ask this. That's what it's called. So if you want to subscribe to that, have a look. Let's just have a look and zoom in on these 48 questions and criteria for strategic planning. Let's just pick one here. How do you link the results of your strategic planning or similar process to funding requests, funding allocations, and organization and individual performance assessment? Wow, that's a deep one. Lots going on here. Lots to unpack. Let's unpack it. Here we go. We are unpacking it. Coordinate and integrate strategic planning initiatives with management, HR specializations, and other analysts, providing program guidance, oversight, and evaluation. Great. So, what do I need to ask and of whom? This is part of research and development. It's a management topic. How integrated are your organization's strategic planning and risk oversight processes? Double click. And I'm going to ask that of my marketing CRM strategy manager, for instance. And there's more questions I can ask here. So that's where you deep dive into each and every question that's in here, and you can unpack it. What mechanisms has your organization put to enhance creativity and innovation in strategic planning practices? Certify your designers working together with teams across your organization. Focus on strategic planning and analysis, internal and external communications, mergers and acquisitions, and revenue synergies. Mergers and acquisitions is coming into play here. Content strategy, and strategic. Oh, I like the strategic ball because strategic planning. We'll probably get a lot when I open this one up. Yeah, there we go. So these are all the most important words that are related to strategic by itself. Go back to the questions. And these are all the questions. And let's, for the fun of it, let's pick let's say 5 most important questions from the 48. So the 48 are open, but let's just pick the 5. So this is the topic. So I actually just picked 4. Let's go. We picked 4. 4 important questions. How does your organization create and implement a strategic plan to achieve a vision for the future, enhance competitive position, and improve overall performance? And that's what we want with a strategic plan. We want it to get somewhere where we're not yet and where we want to go. Is there a process in place to develop an IT strategic plan that defines how IT goals will contribute to the enterprise's strategic objectives and related costs and risks? Do you have a strategic planning process, and does your strategic plan include operational improvement initiatives? And what benefits have you realized from employing different strategic planning practices in the management of your firm? Great questions to ask. So in a team management meeting, I can just pull these questions up on the whiteboard and off we go, and we're having great discussions. Then I'm actually looking for answers like this. I'm looking for answers like that. Looking for answers like that. And I'm looking for answers like that. Make sure with that in place. And then if I really want to go deep. I can unpack each and every one of them and just see how they're related and what areas we need to focus on. We need to focus on regression testing, corporate. We need to focus on strategic planning. We need to focus on what do we have up here. We need to focus on business architecture. Have that in place. See, now I can just dive down deep into each and every topic. I go like, okay, business architecture. Let's focus on that for a while. See what other areas we need to cover there. There we go. These are the areas we need to cover. So that's one way of getting strategic planning in place. The top 48 questions. Start with that. The most important questions that you need to have in place. There's 48, so I'm going to pull up 500, but there's only 48. These are the 48 most important questions to ask when you're doing strategic planning. Another way to look at it is the related topics in strategic planning. So strategic planning touches upon, as you might be aware of, many related important topics. These are the small blue balls. The small blue balls give us an idea of when I do strategic planning, what else do I need to incorporate? What else do I need to be aware of and make sure that we have in place? So, obviously, HR analytics, organizational agility, workforce planning, knowledge-centered support, appreciative inquiry, organization maturity, strategic HR partner strategy, sensitive security information, etc., etc. SWOT analysis, due diligence process flow. See, this is the whole word cloud of related topics that are of importance to strategic planning. And then I can, and you've guessed it, and then I can just pick one and go like, okay, show me what I need to do for organization development. Boof, there we go. For organization development, these are the focus on. Create effective strategic planning methods, support consulting team in the development and execution of strategic plans and report development, ensure you have involvement with leading and executing strategic planning and development, etc., etc. And obviously, I can then, importantly, double click them, open them all up, and go like, okay, for when we're focusing on specifically organizational development, these are the things that we need to have in place, and these are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves to get to these answers in the big blue balls. And I can ask these of the senior manager of talent acquisition and strategy, the EPA regulatory innovation strategist. See? So I can just pick one topic and deep dive into that specific topic as related to a strategic plan, which is really worthwhile and helpful in getting to the core of your strategic planning process, the nitty gritty of it, to make sure that you're covering everything. And it's not just a waffly, not so successful, vague strategic plan. You go down into the details. You say, okay, we need to focus on enterprise risk framework. How are we going to do that? For an enterprise risk framework, these are the areas that we need to have in place. Let's double click, see what comes up. It's thinking, there it is. Support strategic planning and change management initiatives. Great. So how do we do that? We ask, when was the last time that the management team met and talked about what your strategic plan is? See? Right away, we're getting into the nitty gritty of it and not a vague plan. Right. Now let's have some fun with the word cloud. And the word cloud, those are those words, hello words, especially with a strategic plan. If I'm starting out with a strategic plan, I don't really know what to focus on. I want to get discussion going in the management team. This word cloud is really helpful with that. The word cloud shows me the most important words that are related to strategic planning. So these are the words that I want to be focusing on. Future, research, system, business, manager, knowledge, opportunities, manage, organization, supply, communication. These are the words I need to be focusing on. And then I can just say, oh, let's focus on the future. What do I need to do here? Future. Formulate policies and strategic plans for the future growth. Ensure your organization planners help envision and shape future organization growth. Should get those people in place. Partner with legal to evaluate deal terms for pending and future agreements. Oversee a high-performing team that is positioned for future growth. Now, look at all this. This is stuff that I can put in place right away. Warrant that your group manages the strategic planning to ensure that RBAC can successfully fulfill its mission into the future. There we go. And there's the board involved. The board engage in long-term strategic planning, which would include regular updating of the health center's mission, goals, and plans as appropriate. Centers, business, organization, actually anything that you're covering your strategic planning for. Um, Employee, invest, leadership, planning, transform, priorities. And I can spend hours in management team meetings just going through these and trying to figure out what the relationships are and what we have in place in our organization, what we still need to do. Ooh, diversity. I'm just clicking on things that I find interesting at this moment. Let's unclick that one. I only want to see diversity. Promote and encourage diversity and inclusion in support of your organization's guiding values and strategic plan. So have that in your strategic plan. Work closely with the VP Diversity and Inclusion to execute on a strategic plan, managing programs internally and relationships externally. Good. And questions I can ask to do that here. See, so this is these are the most important words that make it really interesting to ensure that you don't miss anything and you're ready to cover anything that you need to do for strategic planning. Another way to look at it, and I've shown you this before, is the prioritization that's in here. The prioritization of all the use cases. Oh, not gonna make an error. There we go. The prioritization of all the use cases is based on their urgency, and the highest urgent ones are the must-haves. So the number one, those are the ones in there. So the prioritization of all the use cases is based on their density, adjacency, their weight, and that's how the prioritization through our own in-house built artificial intelligence is put in place. So if I click on must-have, you'll see all the must-have. These are the ones that we definitely need to cover in our organizations. If I don't want to just do the top 10, I want to do all the must-haves use cases, all those that need to be in place. There we go. These are all the must-have use cases. So go through those and make sure that you definitely have them when you're thinking of strategic planning. Do we have that in place? Do we do all this? Core business systems, financial planning, budgeting, analytics, operational procedures, annual strategic planning, regular maintenance of the strategy map. We have a strategy map actually. See, this is an excellent way of looking at the highest priority ones. And then I can that's just for the fun of it. For the fun of it, also go with the lowest priority one, so you can sort of see the difference. Let's go could have. These are the things that I've done all these. I might still have a look at what to do here. Drive success of strategic internal customer programs. Determine, implement, and measure KPIs for that. Make sure there's work involvement in a quantitatively heavy role. Build, lead, and develop a high-performing FP&A team. Communicate financial and operating performance to appropriate colleagues. See, there's more smoothing of the edge you're doing here in the final priority, the should haves, the final prioritizations, making sure that everything works smoothly. That's basically what we're doing here. So this is the prioritization of all the use cases and how they are organized. Now, another thing I wanted to show you before I'm going to leave you for today is, and you've seen that already when I double clicked on the use cases. Let me just do one so I can show you what I mean. So a use case is, let's go with the top one, for instance, easier. Lead cross-functional teams to develop objectives and measurable targets for goals. Okay, Oof, double click. A question to ask is, can it lead to creative and innovative goals? And I'm asking that of the strategy head in our organization. The strategy head is actually a real role in a real organization, and what we're going to see now is all those roles that we have in place that are related to strategic planning. So these are all the roles in place. Let me zoom out a bit. Poof, there they are. These are all the roles in play for strategic planning in an organization. All the roles that touch upon strategic planning. Why do I show you this? Because we have a lot of our clients also using the Kanban down below, using the Kanban to start with a role, and with that role figure out what the responsibilities are of that role, but also when I need to go for a job interview for that role, figure out what I need to know for that role, what's expected of me. So for instance, I'm just picking one. Which one shall we pick? Technology strategist. Let's do that one. Double click, see what comes up. These are the questions the questions that are going to be asked of our technology strategist. So, for instance, in a job interview, you might get those questions. What do members, customers identify as your strengths? What are the main challenges that make strategic planning difficult? This is all related to strategic planning and technology strategy. What are your current levels and trends in key measures or indicators of customer perceived value? What are the appropriate measurements to evaluate the performance of the project, etc., etc. So this is where you see these are important questions that are being asked of the technology strategists, and that's for each and every role in here. There are questions. So I can then double click and go like, okay, we need to put this in place, and then to put that in place, it's part of a project. It's a might have, so it's smoothing of the edges, but part of the strategic plan. And the question that we need to be asking here is, it's in strategic planning, and what are the appropriate measurements to evaluate the performance of the project? So if I unclick it, there we go, gone again. Let's pick another one just for fun of it. Senior strategy consultant. What is the difference between strategic planning, long-range planning, business planning, and operational planning? Yeah, you better know that if you're a senior strategy consultant in your organization. Digitally explicitly integrated into strategic plans in and across business functions. Oh, okay, now I'm done clicking both of them. Now I want to see what's going on here. Now, there we go. Certified personnel is involved in strategic planning, business modeling, and process simulation. There we go. And the other one was here. Make headway so that your strategy performs SWOT and other analysis, applying common strategy frameworks to develop business strategies that shape the direction of your organization and individual business functions. Here you have it, job roles, another great way of looking at strategic planning and how to put that in place. Now, the final one I'm going to show you, and that we started out with, and that's the whole enchilada and hairball of strategic planning, which you can find down below in the link in the show notes, and the link here in the down below what the bar down below. You can find the link, and in that link you can play around with all this content. What you see here, the knowledge graph is built in a thing called Neo4j. That's open source software. I've just imported the data that you can purchase on the link down below. And out it comes with all these relationships because it's built in what we've done in the data. So with this, and let me zoom out to the big hairball. So we're leaving you with the strategic planning hairball on the screen. So this is all we need to focus on when we're doing strategic planning. I had a good time. I hope you did too. Thank you for being here, and we'll talk again tomorrow.